morning. I just want to do a little instructional video this morning on our bike carrier that we use on our adventures. The one we have is a KAC. I've liked it so far, but just a little instruction video, just how to install it, how to put your bikes up on it. Hey, before we get too far into this video, I just wanted to mention that it's very important before starting this project, or really any project, especially early in the morning, you need the proper tools. Make sure you're prepared for the project. For me, I can't stress enough, one of the most important things that you can have is your coffee. So when we first bought the e-bikes, we realized right away that we were going to need some way to carry them. At first we were just throwing them in the back of the truck here, going where we need to go. But they weigh about 50 pounds a piece. Hers is a little less, but about 50 pounds a piece. And plus, you knew, eventually they were going to get all scraped up, right? So we knew we needed a bike rack. And the purpose of this video was not to say which bike rack is better or not. It's more, when I got the bike rack, I had to figure out how to use it. So I just wanted to show you some of the features of it and what have you, how to load it, the basics of it. We'll get into that. This is the bike rack here. But I just wanted to show you this real quick. So this end, square end, is actually what goes into the truck. That's the receiver. Once you have this in the receiver, you're going to want to line up this hole with the hole that's on the side here. It's actually right here. You just want to line that up so this can go all the way through and line up with this hole here. And you want that bolt through, and you turn this bolt and you're going to crank this down, okay? As you're cranking that down, this piece here is going to expand, and it's going to keep it from moving too much in the receiver. It's going to tighten it down just a bit. On the other side of this bolt that you're putting in, there's a ridge right here. This ridge right here is for this lock. This lock is important because once this is in the truck, this is pulled through. That's what locks this, keeps it from backing out of from the truck, right? But also, this will go on here. You put a key in here and you turn it. When you turn it, it's going to lock this into that ridge right there. So now this will not come off. So now on the truck, nobody can pull this bolt out, and they can't steal your bike rack, right? So that was important. I just wanted to show you that before I put it in. And this is how it's going to go into the truck. Okay, we're just going to put that into there. That's it. Right into the hole. Just like that. See that? Now I have that bolt that we were talking about. The bolt, and I have the lock and the keys. I'm going to take this bolt, and now we got to line up that hole that I was showing you, right? So I'm going to do that right now. It looks lined up. And put the bolt in the hole that I was showing you earlier. See how it comes, and you can see it poking through right here. Once you have this down tight, you're going to want to crank it down with a tool. Now I have it right here. It's a 3/4 inch socket bolt. So I just use this because it's easy, and I just crank this down, make sure it's good and tight. And like I say, the more you crank it down, the more this is going to stay solid in here and not shake around as much. So now, as you can see, it doesn't move around that much in there, and that's what you want. And here's the lock. I push the lock on there as far as it'll go. I'll take the key I have. This. Now that it's locked, this won't come off. And if this won't come off, they can't loosen the bolt, and they can't pull this out and take your thing. So this is important. Once it's locked on there, just close that up. This is the way it should look. Now you're done with hooking it up to the truck. That's it. No electrical, no anything like that. So now once you have this secured in the truck, we can now set this up and get it ready for the bikes. Right here is an arm. What I'm going to do is push that forward. This whole platform is going to come down and it's going to lock. When we're done with this, or the bikes aren't on it, we lift this up, gives us a little more clearance because it's fairly away from the truck. So with this down, you have a lot of distance behind you, which is important to remember when you're backing into anywhere with the bikes. Just give yourself that clearance. This consists of 4 of these platforms right here. This is designed for the wheels of the bike, okay? So there's 1 and 2 on this side, and there's 1 and 2 on that side. And as you can see, they're offset. This way the bikes don't hit each other. And the other thing is, you'll see me, I'll go through this later, but you want to point one bike one way and the other bike the other way so that the handlebars aren't going to come in contact. But this is the important part, and you'll see why in a second. There's a detent here, a little ball that you have to push in. Sometimes this might fight you a little bit going up. Just force it, and it comes up and it'll lock in the upright position. This is the lock that's going to keep your bikes both stable and lock them in so nobody can steal them. And I'll show you that in just a minute. But we'll just go over a few other things. You see how these there's an adjustment there, an adjustment there. There's an adjustment for each one of these baskets. So you could slide this basket back and forth depending on the size of your bike. So the first time you put your bike up here, leave these loose so that you can move this around and move it so that your wheel is centered in the basket. Now on these platforms, each platform will have a Velcro strap. We pretty much are ready for the bikes. Now these are the locking mechanisms for the bike. There's an upper one, which you loosen with this, right? Get it to the very top there, and then crank it down, tighten it up. Very easy. And this is the second one. Very good. And you can see that's the other side. So now we're ready for 2 bikes. Now I'm going to put my bike on first because there's going to be an extra step for Diana's bike that I'll show you. But this is how it looks like once it's all together. Bike number 1. This is my bike. I'm just going to get it up in its cradle and then show you a few things. All I'm trying to do is get this front wheel in that front cradle that I was showing you, and my rear tire in the other one. So as you can see, all I did was lift the bike up. And in this case, I put the front end this way, but it really doesn't matter if I put this bike the opposite way, it doesn't matter. As long as the second bike is facing the opposite direction. Comes the hook. Remember I showed you this. So you just loosen this up, slide down. This hook is going to latch into this upper bar. Once you like it, it's in. I tighten this as much as I can, and it's tight. The bike's not going anywhere. So there's something you should do with your wheels, just in case they want to bounce around. And that's those straps I told you about. And there's no set way to do this. I find that I set these straps a little different each time. I usually go over this bar, under the wheel, around the other bar, and around. Pretty sticky, and it's not going to go anywhere. That just keeps this wheel from bouncing up and down. One reason I'm doing this now is it's easier to get this back bike. Now, when I put the front Diana's bike on, it's going to be a little harder to get to these straps. That's the only reason I'm doing it now. And there you go, that bike is strapped in. So now let's go get Diana's bike and get that up on there. First, I want to show you something on it. Now this is Diana's bike. Because she doesn't have a crossbar coming over here, it's a female bike or a step-through bike. There's nothing for the hooks that you're going to see to grab onto to hold this bike in. So you have this little device. What you do is you put this hook in around the seat post, like so. Okay. Then this is spring loaded around your front steering post. Then you put this lock on. Now, when I get this on, the hook will come down. It has something to grab. So So it's just something I had to show to you on Diana's bike. Now when she goes to ride it, when we get to where we're going, we have to take this off first, put it back on, we'll put it on the bike, and it keeps her bike nice and secure. Now we have Diana's bike and ready to go on. Now I have it facing this way, only because it's the opposite way of the other one. All I gotta do is lift this bike up, now put it in its stirrups, and do the same thing I did with my bike. It's in. And then I'm just lowering this down until it's tight. So once I have those hooks on tight, those are tightened up, I have the wheel straps all set. This is good to go. Now I just want to show you how you lock this so that nobody can pull your bikes off. Let me show you how to lock them in. You turn this and you crank this and tight so that this doesn't slide up and down. Same thing with this one. It means somebody can walk right up here, loosen this up, pull it up, and they got your bike. So what we do is we lock these with this key, and it doesn't really lock it. I'm going to show you what it does. Turn the key all the way, okay? Once you do that, and hide it, see, now it spins. Now somebody can't just walk up here and loosen this and pull that up and take your bike. So that's it, really. That's what it looks like when it's all together. One facing one way, one facing the other. They're out of each other's way. You got the wheel strap like we discussed. So there's other car carriers out there. This is the one that I found, a KAC, and this version is the Ride KAC. Yeah, I did a lot of research, and you know, there's so many of them, and some of them are real expensive. But what one do you really need? How many bikes do you have, number one? And then the other thing to bear in mind is that the rack itself weighs about, I would say, 40 to 50 pounds. And so do each of these bikes. Mine's a little heavier than Diana's. Mine is 50 pounds, hers is 45 pounds. You're talking, you know, 150 to 200 pounds here. So just bear that in mind too. You know, for the moment, I would say this is restaurant safe. You know what I mean? It's like if you're going to go into a restaurant or rest area or whatever, it will slow people down from getting your bikes. Overnight, I don't know. We usually pull our bikes into the hotel. When we're going to a hotel, we ask if we can bring them inside, and we do that. So that's the end of this on the bike rack, and maybe you could use this as a jump starter to getting your bike rack.